The Beach FM Business Lunch Show, brought to you by PlaceMakers Kapiti Horowhenua. Together we're building New Zealand.
Welcome back to the Business Lunch Show on Beach FM on your Tuesday afternoon. And let's welcome back to the show. She was on the first week. It is the 6th week. She is the chair of KEDA, which is the Kapiti Economic Development Agency. It is Liz Coe. G'day, Liz.
Good morning. How are you?
It's been a while since we talked. How were the last 5-6 weeks for you?
Well, they were pretty good, actually. It makes you stop and think, doesn't it? You know, it makes you reevaluate your life when everything changes so dramatically. And I think most people are saying they found some good stuff out of it. Yeah. So, yeah, for me personally, it was a time to take things a bit more slowly, because normally I'm racing around here, there and everywhere, and running in between my two offices and out at meetings at night. And so for a few weeks, I got a chance to just sit and relax and still do work, of course, but to be in one place doing it rather than tearing around.
Absolutely. A lot of people have said the same thing. At first, it was a bit of a frustration, but then they took the moment to regather, reset, and reassess. So outstanding that we can look at it that way. You personally, you are a financial advisor. How is the confidence been out there with your clientele?
Well, pretty good, actually. I mean, my advice to people has always been to have plenty of cash on hand, no matter what. And I certainly do that with my clients who are retired, or pretty much anybody, any stage of life really needs to have some cash on hand. And I think if you're in that position, then whatever happens in the short term doesn't make a huge impact. Most investors are investing for the long term. That's for the next 5 years or more. And in fact, I was just listening to a report on the radio this morning about how a lot of people kind of panicked with their KiwiSaver and switched from balanced and growth funds into conservative funds, which is probably not the best thing to do. So I've been observing a bit of that kind of thing happening, where people have just not understood about market volatility, just how the market works over the short and the long term. But the advice always is have plenty of cash on hand, take a long-term perspective, and then you should be fine. So I certainly have not had any sense of anxiety amongst my client base, but obviously there are some people out there who have been a bit worried. Yeah,
I know you can't give advice. I know there is a line where you can talk about, but there was a almost an overnight drop in KiwiSaver, and it has seemed to bounce back, climbing back. Do you think it will become a strong investment for our retirement future again?
Absolutely. I mean, the way that markets work, investment markets, is it's a bit like it's like being at sea. I always think you ride the waves. There's always ups and downs, and that's what makes the return. If you were investing in something that was dead flat, that didn't change in value, you'd never make any money, would you? So the whole thing to bear in mind is that if things are going up, they can also come down. And what you're hoping for is that over time they go up more than what they go down, and that's been proven. Over the last 100 or more years, that's what happens. We're on I always say to people, it's like a man going up a hill with a yo-yo. It's like you have this up and down movement, but there's an upward trend. And if you keep that in mind, then there's nothing to worry about. So, times of volatility are times when you can make money as well. It's a time when you can buy up assets real cheap, whether it's property, shares or whatever, or businesses. Cheap assets in a recession.
Yeah. We've seen some people out there pivoting, changing how they look at their business, or even if they're in the right business. Have you had any people out there, putting their feelers out of taking a new step into a new venture?
Yeah, I think there are people who are definitely looking at doing things online a lot more. That's been a bit of a theme going through, and I think that, that's the way of the future. That will give businesses a lot more resilience if they are able to improve their online presence. And I think that's going to be a key issue for Kapiti businesses in particular going forward is getting themselves online, because this won't be the first pandemic. Let's face up to the facts. We've had pandemics before. We had the old Spanish flu in 1918. I know that seems a long time ago. But just with the way that world travel is going and world populations, those pandemics are going to get more and more frequent, I think. And if it's not a pandemic, it could be an earthquake. I mean, you had a big reminder of that. When was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday morning.
Monday week.
We always have to be at the ready for when there is a big shift in the world. And I think, having that resilience, to last through whatever the world throws at us, and being online is part of that, and being flexible and being adaptive. And, people who do well out of recessions are the ones who can turn a threat into an opportunity. They're the people who can see the bright side, who don't get all despondent and descend into doom and gloom. In any environment, there is opportunity. And, there's lots of examples of businesses that have developed out of adversity. And, I mean, you only have to look at the share market and think, well, there's companies that are, whoever invented the Zoom must be making billions of dollars by now, I would think. And, healthcare companies, any sort of communications companies, they're all doing really, really well. Whereas there are other companies that are not doing so well, such as Auckland International Airport, or, a lot of those sort of tourism-based companies. So, it's times like this are not bad for everybody. And it's a matter of, finding where is the opportunity in amongst all that bad stuff that's happening.
Absolutely. And it's pretty lucky that we're in New Zealand and killing it right now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're literally killing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel quite safe, and I think, when people feel safe, they're more confident.
Absolutely. And
they're more likely to take risk. Whereas if you don't feel safe, or if you feel uncertain about the future, then you just kind of hunker down and you don't take risks at all. So I'm not getting that feeling. I'm not getting that feeling that people are scared. I think people are rearing to go, and Kiwis are very resilient and very adaptive, and I think we're seeing a lot of that out there now with the way people are pivoting their businesses and thinking about new ways of doing things. So good on us. I think we've got a good future ahead.
And thank the Lord for the moat around us. Hey, let's talk about KEDA now. You guys, last time we talked, you were launching the Business Support Network to help everyone through COVID. How has that been for the last 6 weeks?
Oh, really good. Yeah, so we've got I think it's about 50 or so of our local professional people who have made themselves available on our platform. So it's businesssupportnetwork.nz. And we've been recording, we're still doing it actually, we're recording little 20-minute interviews with each of those people so that they can pass on their wisdom, their best tips for the current environment. So it's just, one of the issues that obviously is we're all really busy, so trying to find time to do that. But, we really encourage people to go onto that website, businesssupportnetwork.nz, and just see who's available there. So everybody on that site pretty much is offering at least some form of free time. Against each person, it sort of lists the amount of free advice they're willing to give. But there's a massive array of really experienced people there who have said, look, we just want to help Kapiti get through this, and so they're offering their time, their expertise. And there's people covering, HR, technology, marketing, supply chain, whatever else you can think of, legal stuff. So, we have experts in every field. And, now is the time when I think small businesses need to ask for help. Kiwis are really good at the whole DIY thing, testing it out, and we don't like asking for help. But now is the time to do that, really. It's not a sign of weakness to say, hey, I need a hand here, or just go and get some information. I mean, the people who are best informed are the ones that are going to succeed through this time. So, yeah, it's going really, really well. We've got a great community of people who are involved with it, and they're all keen to help.
My boss tried to get me to do webinars about 10 years ago, and I thought she was crazy. And the amount of webinars I've watched over the last 5 or 6 weeks, there's a lot of great content just on the KEDA website as well.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, so I think to some extent what I'm picking up is that people have got information overload.
Yeah.
And we're all zoomed out, there's only so many hours a day.
Zoom era.
Sit and watch Zoom. So we have to be careful about that. So I think, really what people are wanting more than anything now is kind of hands-on support rather than sitting and watching yet another webinar. And that's what the Business Support Network is all about. It's about people making themselves available and just saying, look, just pick up the phone and ask me a question. Give me some, if you want some practical support, you need some advice that relates to you particularly, to your personal situation, then you need to talk to someone because, listening to a webinar, you'll get some generalised information about something, which you'll, but then the question is, well, how does that relate to me? And, often in your own business, you've got particular circumstances where you have to, kind of translate that information, to your situation. And that's where having an expert to guide you is really helpful. So, yeah, time to make use of that information and you convert it to something practical.
Definitely. That's why I had to fix a board this morning. Hey, Liz, I've appreciated your time. Lastly, as always, where can people find you? How can they get in touch?
Okay, well, the Business Support Network is businesssupportnetwork.nz. If people need financial advice, then go to moneymax.co.nz. So I give personal financial advice as opposed to business financial advice, but the two are quite often interrelated where people are self-employed. So by all means, reach out. I'm part of the Business Support Network. So, yeah, give me a bell if you need some help.
Amazing. Thank you for your time, Liz. All the best with another Zoom meeting today, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Damian.